I spent 16 years as a plumber and gas fitter. One of my favourite parts of the job was mentoring apprentices. I had an incident that caused a fairly critical back injury and had to rethink my career long term. Being a teacher is something I always wanted to be, and having that experience of mentoring apprentices really helped with that. Going back to university isn't a cheap exercise, so one of the first things we had to do was downsize our life quite considerably. So downsizing the house, downsizing our spending, working out ways where we could cut the budget, and just making sure that we could afford to survive. You realise how many out-of-class hours are involved in full-time study and how limiting that is on how much you can work. Any work I've got has had to have flexible hours because the days required for me to be at university constantly change. The days that we have practicums constantly changes. I've had to always be able to change the days that I work, which for a lot of employers isn't practical. It's tough. A lot of the stress going into pracs is financial. You can't work during practicums, or if you can work, it's going to hurt how effective the practicum is, because you really need to focus on your planning, your teaching, as if you were a classroom teacher. You can't go to work straight from practicums because a teacher would go home and plan the next day's lessons. One of the hardest parts about doing a teaching degree is the constant drive to become a better teacher. And a lot of that involves professional development, extra practical days, lots of readings outside of the course. The Future Teacher Fund would allow prac students not to have to go work, allow them to focus on their practicum, get the most educationally out of being in the schools, which is what they're there for. Your savings are slowly disappearing every day you're on prac, and you're just hoping that nothing goes wrong, because if a car breaks down, a pet gets sick, something in your house happens and you've got to replace it, you're stuffed. That little bit of a buffer would just take the stress away exponentially. If you had something like the Future Teacher Fund that would allow us to go and become better teachers rather than having to go and work odd jobs, it would be great.